welcome to Shrubby Buddies Podcast, where we talk all things horticulture right from the heart of Zone 6B. So grab a drink, step into the garden, and grow with us as we talk plants, tools, tips, tricks, with a healthy dose of comedy and banter. Whether you're crushing into the landscape or just trying to keep the one plant alive, we've got you covered. And as always, love you harder plus 2. Hey, Shrubby Buddies, and welcome to this week's episode. I am Matthew C., joined with Timmy I'll Eat Anything Fleischer. Tim, how are you?
I'm good, and I will eat anything. One time.
I know.
I'll give everything a shot one time. So,
okay.
you know.
What's up, buddy?
I hate olives, and I hate tuna noodle casserole.
You don't like tuna noodle casserole?
Nope.
Really?
I don't like fish in a can.
Oh, all right. What if it was like fresh tuna?
Yeah, but I wouldn't put that in a tuna noodle casserole. I'd sear it and, sear it to a rare.
Okay.
So
what's been going on with you?
Man, what's been going on? Well, I'll tell you what. We're having our typical Ohio spring, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Everyone makes these jokes that you get winter and then fall spring and then second winter and then second fall spring and blah, blah, blah. And like the little graph says, you are here.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where we're at, but it was real cold today and real cold yesterday.
Yeah. And it's going to be like in the 70s tomorrow, I think, something like that.
And there was a day earlier this week between last episode and this episode where it was like 81 degrees.
Yeah.
And by the evening, it had dropped like 35 degrees.
Yeah.
Like that swing. In fact, we went up to Perrysburg on Sunday. We left Columbus. It was 81 or like 79 or 81, somewhere right in there. We drove 2 hours north, and when we got to Perrysburg, it was like 47.
Jeez.
I was in shorts and a T-shirt, and I was freezing my ass off.
That's crazy, dude.
That's where we're at right now. That's the time of year we're at.
It is, yeah.
So
we had seasonal staff start back at work this week. So that's been an adjustment for us, getting back into the swing of that stuff. But it's good to have everybody back and go out there and get some things done. Yeah. You got any projects you're working on right now at work?
We went over that last week,
Yeah.
I mean,
just your annuals and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I mowed some prairies early this week. I just, put my headphones on, got in the vent track and went out for a mow, and that was nice. Sometimes it's nice to mow a prairie just by yourself.
Listen to a little music, which that leads me to something. So this season, we want to do like a Shrubby Buddies playlist. I think we've talked about it before for Apple Music and Spotify. So each week we just want to kind of say a song that we like. This week's going to be Timmy, and then next week will be me. And then when the season's over, all of this stuff will go on to like, the Shrubby Buddies playlist or whatever, and we'll have a new one every season. So
I like it.
We're talking music. You had a discussion with me prior to this.
Yeah.
Us starting this about a song that you recently found while listening or while mowing a prairie, listening to some music. So let's just roll with that.
Yeah. And so the song is Avant Gardener by Courtney Barnett. That's the song and the artist, Avant Gardener by Courtney Barnett. And I didn't just discover it. I've known this song for a long time. It's like probably over 20 years old. But I was mowing a prairie the other day by myself, and the song came on. It just randomly popped in. I had on Wet Leg Radio.
Okay, interesting.
Which was just play songs and artists similar to Wet Leg, which is a band I like. And this song came on, and it was just perfect for mowing a prairie. So give it a listen. And if you don't, we'll put it in the playlist, and you can give it a listen some other time.
Yeah.
So Avant Gardener.
Perfect.
Courtney Barnett.
Love it. Love it, bub.
Thank you.
So we've been having some I'm really frustrated right now. I'm not going to lie, because of the audio. We've been having some audio issues with this recording and stuff. So I got to figure that out. I should be able to clean a lot of it up, I think, in post-production. But
are we cutting out right now?
A couple of times I've heard you cut out a little bit, but
okay.
I mean, I don't know. I really don't know what it is.
It'll get sorted out.
We're going to sort this out.
You folks don't need to worry about that kind of stuff. But we are a little, we meant to record this like 2 hours ago, and we've just been struggling with
getting this all squared away.
Some IT shit. So
yeah,
here we are.
We're going to get it though.
Yep.
Here we are. We're recording. Hopefully angle 3 is coming in. So, angle 3. There you are.
Let's just acknowledge this camera. Just
stare at this camera for a second.
Yeah. Because, if I talk, it's going to go to me. And then if you talk, you talk.
Okay.
You talk.
I'm talking.
I know, but.
Okay. What do you want me to talk about?
Just make the camera, look at you.
This camera?
Yeah.
Hi, camera. Look at me. I'm Matt. I am Matthew C. Guthrie. And I want you to look at me. Now let's go quiet.
Okay.
And just stare at the main camera. Okay.
And that's the angle, hopefully, that you just saw, that you didn't have last week.
The angle of the dangle. Yeah.
Because there was an SD card malfunction.
SD card.
I mean, that's pretty typical of an SD card to malfunction. I see it all the time.
Oh, for sure. In the IT biz, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got in front of you there, bub? Little Easter egg, Jurassic Park? A little nod to Jurassic Park?
Yeah, when Megan dressed up these shelves behind us, she put the Jurassic Park Jeep on the shelf, but she put it way down low, and you couldn't really see it. So I brought her out for this episode.
That's like one of my GOAT movies, right? Jurassic Park.
I know.
Like the OG Jurassic Park.
That's why you have a toy Jeep of it.
Well, yeah, I found that at Goodwill. Shopping with you and Megan and the kids. So that's fun.
That scene when the Jeep's upside down and the T-Rex just puts his head down
and his eyeballs looking
eyeballs looking under there at him. That's so scary.
So awesome though.
That's good.
Cool. I don't have a whole lot going on at work. Just getting things cleaned up, ready to go. Trying to think. Got to plant some stuff tomorrow. I've had like a lot of meetings this week already, and
yeah,
that's kind of dumb, but it is what it is. So
yeah, you've had some meetings. We got a new piece of equipment this week, and it had another malfunction, so we had to have a mechanic come in and troubleshoot some shit.
Yeah, we got Slimer, which is an Avant machine. So we're
Avant Gardner.
Hey, it's all tying in.
It's all tying into Courtney.
It's like harmonious.
So, yeah,
cool.
So, you have had a lot of that this week, and tomorrow we're recording a video with our
community relations team.
No, they're not called community relations anymore.
What are they called now?
Engagement and outreach.
Engagement and outreach.
Is it?
Sure.
Okay.
Social media people. We're recording with social media people tomorrow.
Just a little video for the socials about native spring bloomers that you could use to complement your daffodils and
to
your
inject some color right into your spring garden.
And just a little tease for that, what we found was everything that we're going to be showcasing tomorrow has blue flowers.
Oh yeah.
So what did I
come jingle?
Up with?
I can't remember.
Let's turn those winter blues into spring blues. Because
I love
winter blues and then the spring blue flowers.
I love it.
Anyway, so we'll deal with that tomorrow, but that'll be fun. That'll be fun to record. Great people over there.
Wonderful people over there.
But yeah, speaking of winter blues and spring blues, here we are. This is our first meat and potatoes episode where we're going to talk about something a little bit cohesive, and we thought today we'd talk about spring. Spring's here. What's going on in the garden? What could we be doing in the garden? How to do things properly in the garden?
Yep.
Right. That's kind of where we're going with this episode. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've kind of done this episode before, but we feel like it's important. Like my dad texted me today and was like, "Hey, when should I be cutting my perennials back?" and that sort of thing. So I think it's relevant. He's even listened. He listens to the podcast. So
what up, Mike?
We've gone over this in other episodes before, but just as kind of a refresher for people, what should you be doing in the garden right now, and what's going on in the garden, and should you be cutting stuff back right now? Should you not be cutting stuff back right now?
Well,
and all of those sort of things.
Let's start with just cutting things back in general. If you haven't already, cut back the old stems and things from last year's plants.
Yeah.
Now's the time to go for it. Because at least where we're at, and then probably most of you listening, a lot of your perennials have now emerged, right? Emerged. I know like the allium in our yard is like that tall.
Oh, I know.
And
it's crazy.
So, any of last year's brown stalks, that stuff can get cut off and removed now to let everything new shine.
Yeah, all of that new growth come in.
Now, I will give a little warning about some things that maybe aren't out yet. So like I said, my alliums are out full bore. My garden phlox is out full bore. My penstemons are out. But there's some things in the garden that I know are there. They just have not emerged yet. So the milkweeds in my garden haven't shown their face yet. That random crepe myrtle we have hasn't started to green up yet. And the Sun King Aurelia is another one.
Little late guy.
It's like, how many of those we have in our garden, right?
Yeah.
Like 19. And they get like 5 feet by 5 feet. So we've got these big empty spots in our garden. And I'm like, oh, there's nothing there. Well, there is. That one's a little late. I might not cut everything from that Sun King back or that milkweed back, so it kind of marks a place. So I know where that plant is. So I don't say, oh, there's a gap in my garden. I got to get something in there.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to plant right on top of something. Because once that stuff comes out, it'll roar.
Yeah. The other one, too, is spigelia. I know that one's kind of late to come up.
Absolutely.
The spigelia.
And I forgot about that one, and you're right, because I ordered a bunch this year in bare root because I'm doing a lot of plantings with it, and I started it in the greenhouse, and so it's like this tall, and it's already starting to bloom.
Yep.
But I forgot that, like, in the gardens, it's not doing quite up yet.
Yeah, it's not quite doing that.
But when it starts going, it's gonna go. So maybe leaving some of that as a place marker, so that there's something there.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah. And then the other thing that kind of ties into this is the frost freakouts that people are having right now.
Yeah.
At least where we're at. And I know even further south, like, was it Bree? Did you see Bree's post the other day about like real cold night in North Carolina?
Okay.
And just like, so I know that they're struggling with that even further south of here too.
Yeah.
Here and there. But these frost freakouts that people are having, and some of it might be warranted, but I want to say just like chill out.
Yeah, for sure.
Chill out a little bit. Don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree completely.
Tell me more.
Yeah. So, with these, what are you calling them? Freakouts?
Frost freakouts.
Just like be patient. The plants are really smart and know what they're doing. So like stuff that's in the ground, don't worry about it too much. A lot of the stuff that's coming up, if it were to get down to 15 degrees Fahrenheit, that may be one thing, right? It may just like set the perennials back a little bit, but it's not going to kill them. It may nip a little bit of the foliage, but these perennials that are in the ground and established, like they know what they're doing. So don't get too wound up about that. I would say, obviously, if you're already putting out some vegetables and stuff in zone 6B, maybe be a little cautious on some of that newly planted stuff.
Yeah.
But like no need to freak out about it. Just watch the temperatures. A lot of your cool season crops, even, if it gets down to 29 or 30 degrees, they're going to be just fine through that. Again, that's, when we're getting down into those lower 20s and even upper teens, which, knock on wood, we're not going to have that again. That's maybe when you would want to cover that stuff up. But a lot of people, I think, are seeing their gardens start to kind of come alive And then they see these freeze warnings, and the local meteorologist is like, oh, if you have plants that are green out, make sure you cover them. And it's like, well,
Yeah,
like I'm not going out and covering my salvia or my calamine or
even your peonies. Like
my peonies that are coming up. Like,
that's the thing. It's important to remember that this happens every year.
Yep.
Every year I see this on the socials with people, in the neighborhood groups. Does anyone have extra bed sheets? I need to cover all my stuff because it's going to freeze tonight and all my gardens are going to freeze. Well, if it's stuff that's been planted in your garden and it's been there for years, trust me, it's fine. It knows what it's doing.
Yeah, for sure.
It's hardy to this zone. And like Matt said, I would be cautious about things that are newly planted, that you maybe just planted, or that especially if you just got them out of a greenhouse.
Yeah.
So like you bought something at a garden center and it came from a warm greenhouse and went straight into your garden, because it's not been, the term we use is hardened off. So it's kind of, the idea of it is a plant that comes out of a greenhouse that's 80 degrees and then it's going to go into an environment where it might be freezing, is to gently bring it down to those temperatures.
Yeah, correct. Yep.
So planting it outside, and it's going to have the cooler nights and the warmer days, and it just kind of gets used to that fluctuation in temperature. Whereas if you take something straight out from 80 degrees and it goes and it gets a hard freeze, well, it's going to get zapped just because it's not used to that.
Yeah.
So the term is called hardening off. And so just make sure that if you've got things you've planted that aren't hardened off, and that those are the things you'd want to cover.
Yeah.
And like Matt said, like if we have some freak really cold temperatures, some of these newly emerged perennials might get zapped. You might see a little dieback in the foliage, but trust me,
they're going to be just
they'll
fine.
spring right back, because this is not their first rodeo. What you have to understand about plants is they use a lot of ecological factors around them to overcome things like this.
Yeah.
What are you laughing at?
Nothing. I love when you're getting all
using my hands.
You're using your hands and you're just getting deep with it. Like,
but
when you look at ecological factors of the plants, but go on. I love it.
Well, I don't want to get too deep into the science of it, but there's something there's something called degree days. And I think what a lot of times we get worried about is we have those couple unseasonably warm days in February and March where it's like in the 70s, and you start to see some things greening up and you're like, oh my gosh, everything thinks it's summer now. And now it's just going to keep growing.
Yeah.
And it's going to be cold next week and it's going to get zapped. And that's just terrible. Well, it's not the case. Plants, in order for them not to get tricked like that, they respond to growing degree days, which at its most basic explanation is that there has to be so many sequential days at a certain temperature for it to be like, okay, it's
all based on hours.
It's spring now, and so it uses averages and mean temperatures for weeks at a time to kind of get the plant to that point. And we used growing degree days for a lot of things when it comes to plants. Even pests, like certain insects won't hatch unless there's X amount of growing degree days.
Yeah, like 1,027 growing degree days or whatever.
Yeah, so just take a deep breath. Plants know what they're doing. They'll figure it out.
Yeah, and what's neat too about the growing degree days thing, and I think we should do a whole talk on that. But like one thing you could do is check your, maybe check online and see if there's like a phenological calendar available. I know Ohio State University has one, so you can literally go in there and type your date in, and it'll tell you based on the growing degree days for your zip code where you're at. It's got it all figured out. What insects should be emerging, what should be flowering, what leaves should be opening on trees, all of that stuff.
It'll explain to you when to prune certain things.
Yep.
When you can be planting certain vegetable crops. So, science, right?
Hashtag science.
Yeah.
Love it.
So
cool. Yeah. So we got, cutting some stuff back. The obvious thing too would be, maybe now would be a good time to blow out the leaves and stuff in your garden if you've got some of that unwanted leaf debris and things. If you like that clean kind of tidy look, I know some people, just leave the leaves and let them decompose on their own. Personally, that's not my thing. I like to keep the leaves cleaned out, but yeah, so cleaning up the flower beds in that way.
What we like to do is leave the leaves all winter.
Yeah.
And it kind of
Helps
acts as insulation and this whole movement about, bugs overwintering, and it helps with all that. But eventually most of those leaves are going to go away. I know if it's going to be a year where I'm going to put down some mulch, I might leave some and just mulch right over them because they're just only going to help.
Yeah, if it was like a thin layer of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so leaves, cutting some stuff back, not getting too wound up on these frosts that we have because it's completely and totally normal. Obviously, you don't want to go to the garden center and buy tomato plants right now and expect to put them out and it be okay. And peppers, cool season crops are good, like your broccolis and
absolutely, like if you
carrots and radishes and
you
potatoes.
Can, if you're a vegetable gardener, you can have your, at least here where we're at, you can already have had your radishes and your snap peas planted in the ground.
Yeah,
and they're going to be just fine.
Yeah,
but no tomatoes, no peppers, like you mentioned. Those things are going to be no basil. That stuff's going to be a lot more tender.
Yeah.
So
you keep cutting out real bad. Do you hear it in your?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on with it. No, I'll clean it all up.
I know, but is it gonna?
No, it'll be fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, and then also like dividing perennials right now. So there's some things that you could divide right now. Some things that I would wait to divide. Like obviously, you're not going to want to tear in there and hack up your peonies or something like that. But
let me pause you on that for a second.
Yeah, pause me.
Before you say what to and what not to divide, what is divide? Like, what does that mean, divide? For any listeners that are like, what did he talk about dividing?
Yeah, so what's great is a lot of our perennials, as they get big and mature and sometimes even old or worn out, you literally can go in and cut them in half and dig them out and create a second, third, fourth, however many times you want to divide it up, perennial. They respond really well to that. So yeah, I don't know. I mean,
so you might start with a plant. You see me? Which one am I looking at? You might start with a plant that's like this big when you pop it in the ground, but after a few years, this plant starts to grow outwards this way. It starts to really grow. And then you've got that plant growing in a clump this big. What you can do is take that clump that's that big and cut it up into a bunch of pieces. So you literally stick a shovel or a spade down in and just gouge out pieces. And as long as you've got some roots attached to that, you now have a brand new plant.
Yeah.
That's just like the one that you bought several years ago. And now you could plant that over here in this side of your garden or that side of your garden. Or you can take all those pieces and leave them in that area, but spread them out a little bit. So
yeah, fill the area in.
So you can fill that area in a little bit better.
It kind of freshens everything up too, I suppose.
And a lot of these things, what'll happen is as it grows out this way, you get death in the middle. So I see this a lot with dianthus.
See it with ornamental grasses
with
too.
Some of the larger ornamental grasses, and you get the death in the middle, and then you've got this plant that grows and it's like got a hollow spot in the middle. That is a perfect, that is like your signal. Divide me, cut me up into pieces and plant me around.
Or your hostas that are 8,000 years old that are only supposed to be 3 feet wide that are now like 8 feet wide.
Mm-hmm.
Divide those hostas up.
Yeah, why didn't that hosta read the plant tag?
And give them to all your neighbors.
Yes, exactly. Friends, neighbors, family.
All of that good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So and then I want you to get back to what you were saying about things that you should be dividing now if you want, but things that you don't want to divide.
Yeah, I wouldn't divide, like right now, I probably wouldn't go in and divide stuff that's going to be early spring flowering or flowering right now, but.
So like a peony or a bearded iris.
Yeah.
That would be a great thing to divide in the fall because they're done blooming. You don't want to divide something that's on the cusp of blooming because when you put your shovel in there and pop a piece of it out and you dislodge those roots from the soil around it, you've now given that plant a new goal, and that's get those roots back into the soil. Yeah. So now it's going to put a lot of energy and rooting back in.
And not into the flower.
Right. So you're going to lose, you're just not going to have a great flowering response. It's not going to hurt your peonies if you divide them right now, but the flowering response isn't going to be what you want. So wait till the fall. But things you can divide now, like I mentioned, dianthus is a good one that always needs divided. Black-eyed Susan's another great one that could be divided. Like you said, hostas.
Yeah, hostas are a good one. You said black-eyed Susans. I would say probably you could do echinacea. If you have leucanthemum, like your daisies, you could do
Phlox,
the phlox.
penstemon.
Yeah, like all of that good stuff. Now is a good time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, divide it up, people.
Garden phlox.
Garden phlox.
Garden phlox is what I meant. Yeah.
Garden phlox.
I like how you said if you have leucanthemum,
if you have,
which is Shasta daisy.
Shasta daisy. You know how I feel about Shasta daisy.
Lazy.
Yeah.
Lazy gardening.
Lazy
Anyways.
gardening. This is Tim's new thing this year is lazy gardening is his new like coined term that you just figured it out this morning.
No, I've been thinking about this for a long time.
Oh,
but
have
I said
you
it
really?
out loud this morning.
You
for
said
the
it out
first
loud
time.
this morning. You were like, yeah, that's lazy gardening. It's lazy. And then you like gave a whole, and then for the next half hour, all I heard you talk about was lazy gardening. I'm like, okay, that's Tim's new like coined term for 2026. Speaking of lazy gardening,
I know where you're going with that, but let me clarify so people don't think I'm a terrible person. Lazy gardening is when you say, oh, I got a big space and tell me what kind of ground cover I can plant that'll just cover up all the space. That's lazy gardening.
okay.
Let's do something a little more dynamic than that, right? And unless this is just the best ground cover in the world that gives you 4 seasons of interest and it's amazing, which, that may exist. But
Vinca minor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Bugleweed.
Bugleweed.
Don't plant either of those.
Ajuga.
Don't plant either of those things. But yeah, lazy. So we'll get into that another week, though. We'll talk about lazy gardening. But what were you going to say?
Well, you were talking about lazy gardening, and you coined another term as we were discussing the podcast this afternoon. And what was that term when you were like, oh, it was, hold on. Let me think of it. Oh, what's that? Seaweed. Yeah. Seaweed.
Seaweed, address weed.
Yeah. You said seaweed, but not like what's in the ocean. You seaweed, address weed.
Yes.
You seaweed, you pull weed, or you kick weed, or you hoe weed, or you spray weed. So, that all starts right now. A lot of these weeds that are coming back from seed or root, whatever, are starting to pop up in the garden. So get a hold of it now. That way, come mid-May or the end of May, it's not out of control. So, just walking through your gardens once a week, spend 15 or 20 minutes just walking around and plucking those weeds out. Or if you got a hoe the weeds out. I like hula hose or push-pull hose. I call them hula hose. But
and honestly, if it's like a bare spot in your garden and it's just some little weeds, just like rough them up with your heel or your toes, just, get those weeds out of there.
Or you could use an herbicide. I know some people.
Yeah, we're not judging on how you're getting rid of the weeds, but
judgment-free zone, unless you plant garden phlox or Shasta daisies or burning bush or barberry, any of those above, butterfly bush.
You were talking, so the
go
camera
ahead.
didn't probably see me gagging, but I was gagging at all that. No, so one of my garden pet peeves is
seaweed.
Yeah, well, and it's not the weeds. The weeds aren't my pet peeve.
What's your pet peeve?
The pet peeve is when someone says, well, they just got here overnight.
No, they didn't.
Because there's times when I'm sure, and you too, where you don't focus on an area in Dublin where because you forget about it, and then you're like, holy crap, there's a lot of weeds there. You don't tell yourself, well, those things just came overnight. You're just like, yeah, I haven't taken a look at this in a while. That's why
unless someone's like, those weeds are really bad there, and I'm just like, I was just there 2 days ago and I didn't even see them, and now look at them, But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, oh shit, yeah, you're right, those are bad.
But that's one of my pet peeves. Like occasionally we'll visit a resident's house that wants us to come by and give them some advice, and you just get there and their garden is just like, just plastered with weeds.
Oh, yeah.
You know, big, healthy weeds. And they're just like, yeah, sorry. I mean, it just got here. They just got here overnight. And you're like, no, they didn't.
Well, but yes, correct. There's a lot of people that are that way. There are some people, though, like I did a consultation this weekend, and the gardens were pretty weedy, which is fine. Again, judgment-free zone here. I mean, my flower beds can get weedy at times.
Absolutely.
And they were just like, yeah, sorry about the flower beds. They're weedy as hell, and I just haven't gotten around to weeding them yet, you know? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, life's busy, you know, I get it. So
it is. So getting off to a good, I guess what we're going back to here is a good start in the spring is
seaweed, address weed.
So when you just have a couple weeds, get them. Get in that good habit of seeing the weed and addressing the weed. And every time you're in your gardens, you know, make it kind of like a challenge. Like, I'm not just going to look at that one and say, I'm going to get it later. I'm just going to get it right now.
Oh, yeah.
And if you get in that habit, then you can kind of get things under control. It doesn't mean it's going to be weed free, but it
is that what you do at home?
We do.
Do you?
We do. I think Megan's far more meticulous when it comes to the weeds.
Yeah, but I think Megan, doesn't she like throw the headphones on and like get down on her kneeling pad and just really like
she does
crank it out, listen to Shrubby Buddies, roll her eyes at you and I, pull some weeds. Yeah. Or if she's like pissed off at you and the kids, it's like, I'm going to go pull weeds. Yeah.
Yeah. Bye.
All right. And you're like, see ya.
Have fun. So yeah, just getting on top of those things as you see them, it was going to make a world difference because they're only going to get worse. Right.
Yeah.
And you get a good rain and those weeds they really are going to overnight go from this to this. And you're just going to be, I don't know what to do.
Yeah. What else? What else we trying to do in the spring garden? We talked about what to do with some leaves. We talked about dividing. We talked about cutting back. We talked about seaweed.
I got
what
one.
else you got, bub?
I want you folks to listen to me. You're gonna inevitably be at the garden center now or soon here in the spring. I don't want you to get too excited and blow your load at the garden center, okay? Because that's what the garden center is doing. The garden center says, we've been sleeping all winter. We got stuff now, and it's colorful and it's pretty. And see it? Do you see it? And they put it all out in front in displays, and they're like, come buy this, you know? And you see that, and you're like, gotta have that because I gotta spend money now on this stuff. Just slow down a little bit. Don't blow your load right away because what I have noticed, and I noticed this from working at Anderson's for all those years, they always sold this winter heath. You know that plant?
Yeah.
It's an ericaceous plant, which just means that it prefers acidic soil. Well, you know what we don't have here in Columbus soil?
Acidic soil.
We don't have an acidic sandy loam.
Yep.
Which is what a winter heath prefers. But if you go to any garden center around here, they're selling them. They're all out, and you look around, and everyone's got one in their carts because it's got this beautiful lavender flower and this fine evergreen foliage, and you're like, yes, if I bring this home, my family's going to be so happy with me, and this is just going to be the most beautiful thing in my garden.
Yeah.
And it will look nice until it's done blooming, and then next year it'll be dead.
Yeah.
And so I don't want you to fall into those traps. And that's just one example, like the winter heath or these ericaceous type plants that are blooming real early. That's just one example of many. Do you have any other examples of like garden center things that
Well,
can just
you know, I
get you?
work in the garden center on the weekends, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you not to come out and spend some money. But
well, and no,
but
I'm not telling people not to spend money.
I know.
I'm just saying don't impulse
Here's what I'm
buy
gonna
something because it looks flashy right now.
Yeah, here's what I'm going to say. Yes, garden phlox is another one. Garden phlox.
Creeping phlox.
Yeah, sorry, creeping phlox. Everybody sees it right now. It's extremely bright, colorful. Maybe you could work it into your garden in a small little space at the front of the border. But there are people that come in right now and they see that and they buy flats of it. And they're like, oh, I'm going to line the whole front of my house with this stuff and it's going to look amazing.
And it does.
And it looks amazing for 7 days. And now you're stuck with 51 more weeks of nothingness, just a shitty green looking.
And it even turns brown. It's like,
so don't go crazy over that.
Of creeping phlox when it's not blooming reminds me of your of unirrigated turf grass in the end of July.
Yeah,
it's just like brownish green and scraggly.
Yeah, for sure.
And that goes back to the lazy gardening. Like Matt said, there's nothing wrong with creeping phlox. It's native to the Northeast. So it's not a bad plant per se, but it will grow fast throughout your garden. And what you'll end up with is just this ground cover that takes up your whole garden under your river birch tree in your front yard, this bright pink, and it'll look really, really good like right now. And people will be like, whoa, look at them. They know what they're doing. And then after these 7 days have passed, it just looks like brownish green dust in your garden. And it's like, come on, we can do better than that.
We can
do better than that.
And again, there is a place for it, maybe a small place for it in the garden. But, when you go out to the garden center, don't feel like you have to buy a whole flat of it because it is bright and flashy, because that bright and flashy is not going to last long. Maybe a plant or two or three to fill in some gaps, maybe. If you don't have color this time of the year in the garden, you have gaps at the front of the border, little gap fillers. Put a plant here or a plant there to kind of fill an area.
And you know what? We can't sit here and shit talk creeping phlox without giving some suggestions on what to plant instead. So I'll just come out and say it, Pulmonaria or Brunera are two wonderful perennials that you could plant in a shady under a tree area in your garden that are going to have super vibrant blooms. But then when it's done blooming, it has really cool foliage.
Okay. I'm going to go one even better for you.
Even better for me.
That's going to be for the sun.
Okay.
And I'm going to say pulsatilla.
Yeah.
Plant in those gaps, plant some pulsatilla, pasque flower.
Mm-hmm.
Look it up, people. Pasque flower. Plant that shit in the front of the border in those open gaps. When nothing else is doing anything, your pasque flower is going to be killing it. And guess what? When everything else starts doing good, it kind of disappears. And then I've even had it rebloom for me in the cool months of the fall.
Well, yeah, and the spent flower heads.
Yeah, and the spent flower heads are gorgeous. But and the foliage isn't hateful. But
no, it's a fine texture. It's a lovely plant.
But yeah, pasque flower for the full sun area.
Okay.
So
I like that. And if I could finish this portion of the conversation with one more thing that garden centers want to sell you this time of year, it's a weeping cherry.
Yeah, weeping cherries.
Am I going to get in trouble with some of our garden center friends for saying that?
No, because honestly, so I'll be honest with you. Working in the garden center, I work at Dutch Mill, and, Bob, we've had Bob on the show before. Bob's great. I don't know that Bob's a big fan of a lot of this stuff that he sells a lot of, but
I know it gets you in.
It gets you in, and two, when you own a retail shop, you're in the business to make money.
Yeah.
Right. And if people are coming in and saying, I want a weeping cherry for the corner of my house, you can suggest other stuff, or you can just say, you know what, I'm going to stock that weeping cherry.
I get it.
And because guess what? If they come into Dutch Mill and you're like, sorry, we don't stock the weeping cherries because they're a shit tree, they're going to say, okay, well, I'm going to run to Lowe's, or I'm going to run to Home Depot, or I'm going to run to wherever, other local garden center.
It's such a catch-22.
It really is. I mean, you can educate. You can say, you know what? We do have weeping cherries, or we don't have them right now, but I can put your name on a list and get you one. But have you ever looked at a weeping redbud? No? Okay. Let me show you a weeping redbud here. Let's change your mind a little bit, So redbud. I mean, that would be an approach for it. But I mean, I don't think that you're hurting any garden center people's feelings by saying that.
Because the beef with the weeping cherry is this. Like some of the other plants we just talked about, their beauty is such a flash in the pan. You have a few days of just amazing blooms.
Yeah.
And then they go away. And then it's kind of a pretty ugly looking tree throughout the year. Nothing special about the foliage, nothing special about the fall color.
Disease ridden.
Oh, my. Cherries get every disease in the book.
And
they sucker like crazy, and they revert. So you'll see this oftentimes where a weeping cherry has like another color of flowers sticking straight out the top of it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's just because, I mean, they're a lot of work because you got to prune that kind of stuff off. But, I mean, you don't know when that stuff grows and there's no blooms. You don't know what you're looking at, and then it gets out of control.
Yeah.
So it's one of those trees. It's like a lot of work. And Matt said redbud, and that's just a tree that just has the beauty. Like, I love a redbud defoliated, a weeping redbud defoliated with those zigzag branches that hang down, so stout. And then during the summer, you've got those big bluish green heart-shaped leaves. I mean,
even like with weeping forms, you've got burgundy or chartreuse, or the
foliage color.
I say burgundy, but I guess it's more of like a plum, like dark purple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Chartreuse colored leaves. So you can get different leaf colors with it.
And not disease ridden. Okay. Not
Go
disease ridden.
Yeah.
Not like
ridden.
a cherry.
Yeah. Not like a cherry. Yeah.
And
they do have problems.
They do have their share of diseases. And the flower display is just as striking as a cherry.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So
yeah.
And probably a little more reliable.
Well, they're
Bloom
native.
wise. Yeah.
They're native to eastern redbud. So they're native to the United States.
Yes.
So but yeah, so redbud would be a really good alternative.
So yeah.
I think.
So just to wrap that up, don't get stuck in the garden center trap. Like, do your research, figure out, know what you want to get, go in there and see a plant that maybe is just kind of green and boring to you now, but if you know what it is, you know what it's going to do, what it can provide to your garden, what service.
And if you go into your local garden center, challenge the workers. Say, hey, I want to add color to my perennial garden, or I want to get a tree or a shrub that's going to add interest and flower this time of the year. End of March, first part of April, clear on through April, but I don't want creeping phlox. I don't want a weeping cherry. I don't want a forsythia. And challenge the garden center workers, because I'm going to tell you right now that there is plenty of other options out there. So yeah, make them work a little.
Yeah.
A
lot of them like to be challenged too.
Yeah, for sure. Anyways.
I like it.
Okay. What else we got? So we got seaweed, address weed, clean up leaves, cut back dead stems. What else did we talk about? Dividing perennials, garden centers, frost.
Oh, okay. I can do one. I got one more on the top of my head.
I want you to talk about it, please.
I got one more. This is the time to prune your
hydrangeas.
Well, not
Paniculata.
necessarily. I'll just all-encompassing your shrubs that bloom on new wood.
Okay.
This is the time to bloom them.
Prune them.
This is the time to prune your shrubs that bloom on new wood. And I know that could be confusing sometimes, but just hear me out. I'm just going to use lilac as an example of something that blooms on old wood. Lilacs, we know what they are, right? They bloom super early in the spring, kind of as the foliage is coming out or just as the foliage had come out. And that lilac in the fall, before it went to bed for the winter, said, I'm going to make my flower buds. I'm going to make them. Everything's in these buds that I need. So when I wake up in the winter, they open and flowers come out. Okay? You don't want to prune that stuff because those flower buds are there. It's already made them. So don't prune lilacs. Don't prune, is a oak leaf hydrangea.
Yeah, oak leaf hydrangea
is another one that's already set those flower buds. But the things that bloom on new wood, which means I'm going to wake up from this winter, I'm going to get my leaves, and then I'm going to grow some stems. I'm going to get a little taller, I'm going to get a little wider.
And then I'm going to set those flower buds.
Then I'm going to think about flowers.
Hydrangea paniculata.
That's the stuff that you can bloom, that
you can prune.
Prune, bloom, same thing. That's the stuff you want to be pruning now.
Yep.
So late winter into early spring before it starts putting on all that growth.
When you were talking about the lilac bud,
mm-hmm.
You know what I just was playing through my head?
No.
I'm a little lilac bud, short and stout. That's what was playing through my head. I don't know.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
add that to the playlist.
Yeah, so pruning back stuff now that blooms on new wood for sure.
Yeah,
I love it.
And that's the thing. You don't need to know. You don't need to have here every shrub in your yard and whether it's a new wood or old wood bloomer, because that's what your resources are for. That's what books are for. That's what the internet's for.
That's what the shrubby buddies are for.
That's what we're for. Like, just look it up, ask, because it's not like you have a very large window here to prune these things. So
for $1,000, we will tell you what you can and can't prune right now.
We can. Yeah. We'll give you a very robust list.
Here's one that I'm going to throw out there that a lot of people probably don't do that I think people should do more often. And it doesn't have to be every single year. It can be, but maybe even every 2 or 3 years. That's spirea. So I know a lot of people have spirea in their gardens. I like spirea. It is a shrub, but you can treat it as like a sub-shrub or almost as a perennial. Mm-hmm. So don't be afraid if you have a spirea that kind of looks old and tired, you've never pruned it, maybe just shaping it up a little bit in the garden, but you've never really given it a good hard prune. Cut that sucker back to the ground, or 6 inches from the ground, whatever you want to do. Cut it all the way back, and trust me, that thing is going to flush out new growth and grow like a weed. And you're going to be like, damn, this thing looks good. Like, it's just going to be a whole new rejuvenated shrub for you. So,
in fact, I recently had a visit with a resident.
Yeah.
And it was just a consultation showing me her yard. And she took me over to this row of spireas that she had. The ones that come out like bright red and orange, turn to yellow. Just it's one of those real common shrubby spireas. But she'd never pruned them other than zipping them like this with her shears.
Yeah, shaping them up. Yeah, like you would a boxwood or anything. Yeah.
And she's like, when I planted these 5 or 6 years ago, they were gorgeous. They were so colorful and vibrant. And now there's just all these dead stems coming out. And I told her, I said, you just need to cut that back. Like, see down here, right by the ground, just take it all the way back. And she still didn't hear me. She was like, okay, so I'll just cut out all these dead pieces. And I was like, no, just the whole thing.
Mow them off.
Take it all the way back to the ground, and that plant will have no choice but to shoot out new shoots from those places where you cut, and it'll be the most tender, beautiful, bright new growth.
Yeah.
So, and that's great. And like you said, you don't have to do it every year, but you can do it every year. And there's so many different spireas out there. So, if you want them to get a little bigger, maybe wait every couple of years so you can put on some growth, or just take them all the way back to the ground. So, yeah, very good. That's a great prune, something that blooms on new wood this time of year.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah. And
cool,
then,
man.
And then just a little fun part to the end of the segment. I understand that you found some things this week that you were out just frolicking in the.
So yesterday morning it was like, so we have this old homestead in Dublin.
Don't give out too many details.
I'm not. And we went there to cut back perennials at this homestead in Dublin, and pull in, and we know that they grow there, that we know that they come up, but morel mushrooms. So I pull up and I'm like, you know what? It seems like it's probably a little early, but I'm going to check anyways, because I know they've been finding them further south of here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I'm going to check anyways. They grow under this big old gnarly tree that's on the property. And sure enough, and just in the grass. And it hadn't been mowed, so I'm like, perfect. If there's any morels here, then they haven't been mowed yet.
And I know you were like, man, if I find a handful of these, I'll be happy.
6, 7.
Yeah.
6, 7. Anyways, yeah. So I'm like, oh, sweet, morel. Another morel. And before you know it, I've got 70 morels.
You got like a hatful.
Well, yeah. I mean, we ended up finding 71 morels yesterday.
I found one.
You found one.
Because as soon
as
Matt started finding his, he said, hey, go to that spot that you know about that's near where the area I work. And he's like, go see if there's any there. And I went there. And I found one immediately, and then that was it.
Yeah.
Just one.
So I found 70 morels in the grass, the flower beds, all around this tree. So, so if you're in the area, if you're further north of here, like north of central Ohio, it may still be a little bit early, but keep your eye out there. Again, you can look at the calendar and see what soil temperatures need to be for the morels. I really don't know, but I just kind of go on social media and I think I follow like morel hunting in Ohio or something. And you see, in those groups, people post pictures and then you kind of get an idea like, oh yeah, they're finding them.
I've kind of noticed here they coincide with the blooming of the red buds.
Okay, perfect.
So, I mean, and that can be a little bit off here and there, but I think in general is a good plan, especially if you've had a few warm days, because it doesn't take much for one of these. I'd like to see a time lapse of a morel kind of like
popping up out of the ground,
because it seems like it just happens.
Yeah. So some tips on hunting those things. One, for me anyhow, if you're out in the woods look at a picture on your phone and just kind of get that snapshot of what a morel is. We all know what most of us, if you know what I'm talking about when I say morel mushroom, you know what a morel mushroom looks like, right?
If you don't, you can Google it.
But just sometimes just like that refresher image in your brain kind of like triggers your brain
to know what it's looking
for. Yeah, and then when you're in the woods, you can find them really anywhere. I like to look in areas that are going to get some sun, not full-blown sun, but are going to get some sun. It seems to like those areas, the soil warms up a little bit more. Mm-hmm. They say under dead elm trees, maybe not when the bark's completely sloughed off the tree, but a dead elm where the bark's almost sloughed off. I've heard ash. Find them under fruit trees. One of the best patches I ever found was under white pines, was in the pine needles. The ones that I found yesterday were under a catalpa tree. So, I mean, it's really kind of hit or miss on where they come up exactly, but
and that's true. You can find them around like the bases of trees and fallen logs in the woods, but you can also find them just like growing up into manicured, grassy, turfed areas.
This was where I found them,
and that's where I found my single one.
Yeah,
too.
This was it hasn't been mowed yet, but yeah, just typically a mowed grass area under a catalpa tree. But yeah, apple trees is a good one. Cherry trees. So like a lot of the fruit trees, I don't know what it is. I don't know enough about them to understand like what it is exactly that makes them grow. But just get out and look. It's fun even if you don't find them. Getting out.
It's the thrill of the hunt. It's like looking for a deer antler or something. It's just like you're out. You might find something and it's cool because it's a valuable thing, and you're not looking for them to sell them, but you're finding something that a lot of people hold as very valuable.
Dude, they're tasty as hell.
They're so good.
But what I was going to... It's funny because being like a horticulturist and we love botanizing, it's funny because so many times it's like, all right, I'm going to go out and I'm going to look for mushrooms, right? And you start looking for mushrooms and you're like, I'm going to find them. And then it's like the ADHD kicks in, and it's like, oh, man, look at that, like that sharp-lipped hepatica. Dude, you see this trillium right here?
Have you ever seen so many blood roots in one area?
And then it's like you completely forget that you're even out looking for morels. Yeah. But there again, it's just getting out in the woods for one. Super good for your health, mental health, physical health, all of that good stuff. The fresh air, walking through the woods, exploring the woods, finding these cool spring ephemerals, even if you don't know what the hell you're looking at.
Exactly.
Who doesn't love a pretty flower on the forest floor? Just for me, just feeling the earth under my feet, the leaves and the soil and stuff, like
you were getting so deep.
I love it. I love being in the woods,
I know it. And if you do find these morels, they're really, really great mushroom. Like I said, they're very well sought after. Yeah. And when cooked properly, they have like the texture of a steak and almost the flavor of like a meaty steak.
Okay.
Right? You don't get that?
I mean, I get what you're saying.
I do. They have a really wonderful texture, a wonderful flavor, and they're super simple to cook up. Like we were talking about this earlier, like how are we going to prepare these? And we might do it a couple different ways, but even as simple as washing them, cutting them in half, drying them really good, and then sauteing them on like low medium heat in butter.
Yeah.
And just so they're kind of like getting that crisp
brown. Yeah.
I mean, that's just beautiful. But like we talked about earlier, you could shake them up in flour. You could shake them up with like an egg wash and some crushed up cracker crumbs and do it the same way, fry them up. We've done them in an air fryer, and they were fantastic.
They were good. Yeah, so last year we did an egg wash and Ritz crackers, and then we air fried them, and they were freaking amazing.
So good.
Just the salty, buttery Ritz cracker, and they were really, really good that way too. But there's 1.5 million ways to do it on the internet. So morel mushrooms. You've got a much more refined palate. So. I mean, I don't get the A5 Wagyu that you get, but
I'm not going to go as far as A5
maybe skirt
Wagyu,
steak, or what are you thinking?
Maybe just like
porterhouse.
Maybe just like a nicely cooked strip.
Okay, good strip steak. I like it. I can get with that.
Yeah.
So, very good. Yeah, so get out there and enjoy the morels, people. It's that time of the year. But, yeah, you got anything else, bub?
There's a fungus among us.
A fungus among us. And Sauce Gardner, Avant,
Courtney Barnett.
Yeah.
Courtney Barnett, Avant Gardner is the song.
Okay.
So, Courtney Barnett. Avant Gardner. There you go.
That's the one.
Rock on.
So, all right. So, that does it. Tim, I promise that today or tomorrow.
Don't do this.
Or the day after. I'm going to get this audio fixed.
No, stop. I knew you were going to do that.
No, because the people don't understand it. The people don't understand what's going on.
I know,
right
but
now.
You don't have to make promises and be all guilty. Because
I've been noticing it more with yours than mine.
Okay.
But, anyways. So, we're going to get the audio fixed. But, so hopefully angle 3,
hey, nice hat today, by the way.
You like my hat? Yeah. So, I'm going to try and do some different hats this year. I'm a hat guy. So,
Matt's got quite the hat collection.
This right here is the old
Poulon Pro.
So you like that?
I do.
I say Poland, but Poulon Pro.
I'm a Poulon kind of guy.
So cool. Yeah. So I hope you all enjoy my hat collection as I wear it through the season. But
here I am fidgeting with my mic again.
Yep. Look at that. So,
all
right, peeps. Until next week, we love y'all harder +2. Bye-bye.
Love you. Poulon Pro.
Boo-boo.